And now, we talk about food. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a big show tonight. Joining me as guest co-host tonight is Stephen Reed, who is the owner and farmer of Inglewood Farms. They have an upcoming CSA that he is coming on to talk about. Did I say something wrong with your name?
Well, thanks for having me first off, but I'm not the owner of Inglewood Farm.
Okay.
I'm not quite there. I work for Inglewood Farm.
Farmer.
I've got many titles.
Okay.
One of them not one of them not being
not
owner.
No.
No.
Okay, we'll take that right out of there.
That's okay though.
All
I'm
right.
flattered.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
So
for
the
having
last
me.
time I saw you, I was at the farmers market and I was on the hunt for tomatoes. I think we were wanting to do a tomato goat cheese pizza that night, and I couldn't find any red tomatoes. You had green tomatoes though. You were like, hey, I got these great green tomatoes. Walked around, couldn't find the red tomatoes, came back, got those, ended up making a fried green tomato caprese salad with it, which was really yummy.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah, and we got some of the basil. You had a beautiful purple basil. We had a long conversation about how I can never grow basil and keep it alive, and I have a black thumb. And you were like, it's so easy.
I gave you some techniques
to
grow your basil.
And needless to say, the basil still died.
Well, I mean, you have a shot, at least if you just follow the recipe for success to grow the basil. But there's always a chance that the basil was done and you weren't able to do it. It's not always.
You
your
were saying too that a lot of times the water could be a contributing factor too if you're using city water and it has a lot of chlorine.
Sure, there's a lot of cleaning agents in the water, purifying agents, and those aren't really beneficial to the plant. I mean, even for us growing, we use well water. We don't use city water. It's part of our organic certification as well. But plants don't like chlorine,
Yeah. So rain, just set something up outside to collect rainwater and use that.
Sure. Yeah, I would suggest that to anybody who's growing, even if you have like your grandmother's old ivy still living in the house, which pretty much will grow without anything. But if you have plants around your house, always use rainwater. It's just so much more beneficial for your garden, for your herbs or your flowering plants and stuff, or your bedding. But also at the same token, dump that rainwater occasionally. If you're not going to use it, you don't want to breed any more mosquitoes than we have to.
Oh yeah, that's very true. On that note, there is some friends of mine that are doing the sustainable living project. And in their backyard, they have these little ponds of fish, like little baby fish, and they eat mosquitoes.
It's a good point. Yeah, I think you can put goldfish in any of your fountains or anything like that outside because they eat the mosquito larvae.
Yeah, I had never seen anything like that before. He's like, oh yeah, the mosquitoes come, they lay their eggs. He's like, and they eat the larvae, and it kind of like reproduces. And they also do a lot of things with studying frogs, and they had like all this cool stuff going on in their backyard. But that's something different than thinking about spraying.
Very creative.
Yeah, very creative use of the fish. That was pretty cool. Okay, so on last week's show, we're going to talk about it very briefly because I think before the show we talked about it for about 20 minutes, and Terry Perry is here, and we're going to be talking about the World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off in the next segment. But it's a food show, and we can't not address the Disney gumbo. So we're gonna have to talk about it briefly, because otherwise we could pretty much talk about it for 3 hours. And the timing of it was incredibly funny. On last week's show, Paul Credo came on, and we were talking about pho, and Bon Appetit pulled the pho video, and a lot of people were in an uproar over that. And then this week Disney posted their healthy version of gumbo, and people were kind of up in arms over that version of gumbo. What did you guys think of the video? Steven, you can go first.
Of the gumbo video?
Yeah, what did you think?
I mean, honestly, it's not really, I wasn't in any way offended by, a different style of making gumbo. I mean, I just believe that everybody's going to have their own taste, their own way of doing things. And The whole idea behind gumbo is that it is a melting pot. This is what my mother said about it. Mother's of Cajun heritage. She still speaks fluent French. I wish that, some of that had been passed down to me a little bit more. That's a different note. But she told me that the way that they did gumbo whenever she was growing up was that she came from a very poor family. It wasn't some like culinary delight, on a Friday night to have gumbo during fall or winter. It was whatever they had left that week. They just kind of added to this kind of goulash, and that was their gumbo, and that was it. So, and people want to get up in arms for something, that's fine, but everybody's got their way and everybody's got their, their own style of doing things. So I'm good with that.
It kind of proves the point of how serious we take food around here. I've seen a fist fight almost break out over whether to use a roux had to always be made from scratch or you bought a store-bought roux. I mean, this is how serious we take food here. So it wasn't kind of, I guess, surprising to me that people were upset. I think it was the amount of upset that they got over the video. And what were your thoughts, Terry?
I think I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, I know we talked about it before, but I'm just going to take the opposite point. There are certain ways that you make gumbo down here. Southwest Louisiana is known for gumbo. We have a very kind of specific way. And like I said earlier, we have so many people whose parents make gumbo or grandparents or, friends, whoever. And if you go to people's houses, gumbo is essentially made basically the same way everywhere you go. And I think that kind of homegrown, ingrained idea of what gumbo is so sacred to people around here, even if it is something that's so baseline and base level for food down here. It is something that is sacred to us. So I think, Disney was, in a sense, wrong for calling it gumbo. I think maybe they should have put gumbo in quotations.
I think it was bad marketing.
Yeah.
Just like the Bon Appetit video, I kind of blame more Bon Appetit. I think it was just bad marketing on their part. I think... So I saw the tomatoes and I was kind of like, ooh, I don't like tomatoes in my gumbo, but I know that...
Because you're not from North Louisiana.
Okay, so you keep saying that, and I grew up, because I am from North Louisiana, we did not put tomatoes...
Actually.
We did, and I'm not speaking for all of North Louisiana people, but we did wild game gumbo. So we did squirrel gumbo, turkey gumbo. My great-grandmother, the day after Thanksgiving, would always make a gumbo with the leftover turkey carcass because you don't waste anything in my family. So that maybe they do. I know New Orleans does tomato because they do Creole gumbo style. And also I associate seafood gumbo more with them. I think every culture has a version of gumbo. And we were talking about that too. Ramen for Japanese, the Vietnamese have the pho. French has bouillabaisse. We all, there's a different, I don't know, I find it it is, I guess, comforting in a sense and kind of remind you of your family and the way that your family makes that specific dish. Yeah.
It's soul food for us here, know. It's something that means a lot to us because it reminds us, it makes us nostalgic. At least it does for me. And if my wife was listening to me right now, she'd be like, that is not Steven on the other end of that, because I'm the guy that goes to people's house or goes elsewhere and tastes a gumbo and looks at her and is like, this is not gumbo.
Right.
And Disney did the same thing that everyone else does. And we probably do the same thing here. It's we have Asian food and we're probably butchering what is actually Asian food. Or if you go to Wisconsin, I was in Michigan last year in June, and I went to a restaurant that had several quote unquote Louisiana. They have frog legs.
Okay,
I
never eat Louisiana outside of the state.
I have a general rule where I don't do that either.
So Disney did the same thing. And I mean, when has Hollywood ever got Louisiana right?
This is true.
It's normally a belittlement of our culture here. So I can see where people had an uproar about it, and that's fine.
All right, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we have Terry Perry, and we're going to be talking about the World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
She puts the wow, yum into words. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie herself on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku. Guest co-host tonight is Stephen Reed with Inglewood Farms. And then joining us now is Terry Perry, and we're going to talk about the World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off. I love that I have two other guests in this room tonight that is so into food. We have been having the biggest food conversations not on the air. We should have like a special behind the Food Junkie Show blog or something going on too, so we can talk about everything that we've been talking about off air.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
I could talk about food all day.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I could eat food all day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off in New Iberia.
New Iberia, yep.
Okay.
Right on Main Street.
How long has this been going on for?
We are in our 27th year. This is actually my first year working the Gumbo Cook-Off. But yeah.
And it literally, okay, so how did it get the World Championship title?
Basically, it's the first.
It was the first one.
Yeah, it's the first one. It's the longest running one. We've been doing it now for, like I said, 27 years, and people have been coming back. We've got people participating this year who have been participating since the first. So.
And you said that people really do come from all over the United States to participate. So where are some of the people coming from this year?
Right
Orlando,
now.
Florida.
Will Disney be there?
We have a ton of people coming. We kind of, in the office, there's three of us. Miss Janet Falk, who's our CEO, and then Miss Kelly Rourke, who's kind of second in command, and then there's me, the henchman. We kind of keep a running tally. So right now we've got people from Colorado. We've got some people from Kentucky. We have some people coming from the East Coast. And then this year we also have a few people coming from like the West Coast, like California area. But we get calls every
Do
day.
you know what kind of gumbo they're like? Did it say what they're going in with? Like, can you tell us what some of these gumbos are?
Most of the people are coming and they think that they can match our chicken and sausage.
Okay.
So a lot of people, that's our biggest category. It always is our biggest category, apparently. So they're coming in and some people are bringing their own sausage, which should be interesting. We have some people who are getting here and they are from the area, so they're just going to go to their favorite, butcher or whatever and get their sausage from there. But it should be pretty interesting to see what they come up with.
So it's happening October 8th and 9th.
October 8th and 9th.
So 9th is the actual cook-off, though,
yes,
correct?
The 9th is the actual cook-off. October 8th is the kids event. So we're going to have a kids gumbo cook-off. So the kids are going to come out. They can bring their roux pre-made, and then they're going to be able to cook on the Saturday. So you guys come out. Please support them because they work really hard at it. We also have a Creole and Cajun food festival on Saturday. We've got kids activities. We've got live bands and all else. And then on Sunday, the adults are going to come out and they're going to be cooking all day until about 3 o'clock.
And the best thing is on the Saturday, it's free to go.
It's free all weekend. Yeah.
The only thing you pay for is your food.
You pay for your gumbo. So the gumbo is going to be 3 tickets, I want to say, for regular gumbo. Like, not regular gumbo, but chicken and sausage and kind of the other gumbo options. And then 4 tickets for the seafood. So it should be about $3 per bowl or $4 per bowl.
And we were talking about this. They have to make their roux from scratch.
Yes, they do have to make their roux from scratch.
The adults do it.
Yes, the adults actually, it's kind of crazy. We shut down Main Street starting on the Friday afternoon. And then everybody comes and sets up, and the adults actually have to be out there on Sunday at, I want to say 6 a.m. They start super early, and they don't start serving gumbo until I want to say at like 11. So they have hours to prepare.
Okay, and where can people go to get more information on the cook-off?
If you want to head on over to www.iberiachamber.com/World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off, or you can find us on Facebook at World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off, or you can just call the Great Iberia Chamber of Commerce, and I'll pick up the phone and say, hey, and then you can ask me any questions that you have.
I can tell that it's cook-off season because so I'm going to that, and then I got a call for another gumbo cook-off, and then Festival Cayenne.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's October. I'm gonna die now. Like, I'm gonna be
sweating and eating.
Yeah, eating a lot of great food.
Yeah.
All right, so October 8th and 9th in New Iberia, World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off. It is free. You only pay for your food. So go. And you have some musicians playing.
Yeah, we have some live bands. We have some local favorites coming out. We got Todd O'Neill, who's kind of, one of our bigger names, and he's super exciting. We know a lot of people that really enjoy him, so we're really excited for him to come on out and play for us. We've got Chubby Carrier. Also a local favorite, we've got Gino Delafosse and a couple others. So it should be a fun-filled weekend.
All right. Well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Steven. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
And now, the Lafayette Food Junkie Show, served up medium rare every Sunday night.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and joining me tonight is Stephen Reed with Inglewood Farms. And we're going to talk about CSAs. What is a CSA, Stephen?
I probably tell people what a CSA is maybe 5 times a day.
Right.
Especially this time of year, gearing up for fall. It's a difficult time because the markets are a little slower. People are getting accustomed to getting their kids back to school. And I'm really having to focus on reaching people just because the program is so vital to our success at the farm. CSA it stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And the way that it's designed is to allow the farmer to get capital up front to be able to pre-plan for the growing season. So the way that the CSA works is that a customer would prepay for the growing season, basically investing in the farm for, like, this season coming up is fall. And every week for 12 weeks through the season, they receive a box of what that farmer is growing. So for us, being Inglewood Farm, we're Louisiana's largest certified organic farm, and during the fall, we grow about 40 varieties of produce. And getting the money up front, we're able to battle labor and waste, which are two of the biggest killers for organic farmers, and even just for any type of farmer, small-scale farmers in Louisiana. So we're able to become more efficient, more successful, and provide a really great service to our community by providing them with local certified organic food.
So what are some of the things that people can find in their box? And it changes each box that they get, correct?
Yeah, it changes every week. There's some things that are going to stay pretty consistent, as there are 12 weeks to the share. We try to be as diverse as possible, but we get a lot of requests for some things to kind of stay in the box. Like, everybody wants kale. Now, that's not going to work for everybody. Some people just don't like kale, and we understand that. So we've actually implemented a particular method of picking up your shares that you can actually, if there's something you don't like in the box, when you pick up from us at market or pick up from your drop location, you can actually just trade it out for something else. We always have a trade out box at the farmer's market, and then we have stuff at the market table. So if there's something that you just don't like, you can trade it out.
I think that's so cool. I didn't realize that you guys did that, because one of the big complaints that I hear about CSAs is that, we get a lot of one thing and we don't know what to make with it. And you said you also have recipes that you send with them as well.
Yeah, so it's a lot of information. But basically, to get the idea, you're buying into a share of the farm for the season. You're prepaying for your vegetables. Each week, you get a newsletter with kind of current events of the farm, nutritional information about your product, descriptions of the product. You get a photo, like, saying what's in your box. And then I guarantee you're going to get things that you've never heard of. We like to throw Romanesca or kohlrabi, dandelion greens or frise, radicchio, things that people aren't familiar with. Even, hikori turnips, Japanese turnips that nobody's tried before. And it's really a great way of kind of trying new things, learning new recipes, and broaden your culinary horizon.
That is very cool. And I don't know, I like the challenge aspect of it, of getting the box and being like, okay, what am I going to make with this week? So I like that challenge aspect to it.
It's challenging at times, but if you're simple and you just want a particular thing for the week, that's fine. We bend over backwards for our CSA members because it's so vital to us. And so if you come to the market, like I said, and you don't want something that's in your box, just trade it out for something else. But I also kind of challenge people to give it a shot. Yeah. Try some different recipes. Look at the recipes you got in your newsletter and try that. They're typically really good. I try them all out, and hopefully, you'll find something new that you love.
Exactly. And what is the price of the CSA?
So the way the CSA works is that you prepay up front. It's $324, which is $27 a week for 12 weeks. I have it set up to where you can actually just go to inglewoodfarm.com, go to the website, go to shop online, and you can just put down a deposit now, and then you can pay the remainder of the balance when the CSA actually starts.
So you can actually do it with a credit card online.
You sure can.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Super easy.
That's awesome. That's what I wanted to know.
I'm hoping that whenever I get home from this, everybody that's listening right now,
Yeah,
be like,
they're like,
yeah,
yes, I
what
want
a
to.
great value.
Well,
I'm going to get online right now.
I want to do it.
I know.
So I'm going to go home
no,
and
trust
do
me.
it.
I'm going to look at
Yeah.
Magento later tonight and be like, Tiffany Deku.
Yeah.
I do not see your name.
Yeah. No, I'm going to do it. I really do. I've been wanting to do it, and I can actually afford to do it right now. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that.
And it's super convenient for people too, because if you don't have a lot of time, you can send somebody else to pick up the box for you, but it's already packed for you. Just come, offload it, go home, and you've got your food for the week. You receive the newsletter prior to the week starting, so you can plan your menu, and it's really great for people who are doing the 30 and 30, or they're living a paleo diet. You've got your products. It keeps you from going out and spending money out to eat during your busy work week. You already have the food at your house, and you're just kind of forced to cook the product that you've already paid for.
And pickup in Lafayette is at the farmers market on Saturdays, correct?
Yeah, the Lafayette Horse Farm, every Saturday from 8 to noon you can pick up.
All right. I had so much that I wanted to talk to you about tonight, and we'll probably have to have you come on another show because I feel like we're going to run out of time. But I recently...
I love coming down here.
Yeah.
I wish that it wasn't on Sunday so that all
know.
of my favorite restaurants weren't closed.
I know.
It's kind of sad.
I know.
A little bit.
Maybe one day we'll
I'm like
record or
craving some
something.
bread and circus. I need a smoked beef tongue sandwich like 30 minutes ago, but it's to no avail. Maybe I'll just call Manny and get him to put one on the front door or
Maybe
something.
so. Maybe we can prearrange this and I can have one waiting for you at the station.
You'd be my favorite person
Okay,
ever.
we'll have to discuss this later and
Definitely.
see if we can make that happen.
I'll make the trip down every Sunday then.
Okay, so I recently went to the Farm to Table Symposium, and Zach McMath went this year. You recently had a meeting with him today.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What do you think about the idea of the food hub that he is starting?
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I wish that I could have made the symposium. I think that, farm to fork, farm to table, farm to work, farm to school, all of it is great. I think it is such a, right now it's kind of just an idea. And I think that the wrong people are behind the movement. And I think the right people need to get involved to actually make it happen rather than just the illusion of it happening. But there's a lot of moving parts, and it's going to take time. I think the first step is a food hub here in Acadiana. I think it's a great step. Zach and I had a great conversation about the challenges that we have as a farm, and then being an organic farm, and then also with our location to the potential buyers. We had a wonderful conversation about how to bridge that gap. I think Zach's on the right path, and I'm looking forward to working with him.
I know. I'm excited to see what is coming for Lafayette. Where was I going with this? I just blanked on everything that I was wanting to say.
It's fine. I know you're talking about the symposium. You're talking about like what we can do and how we can make this happen. I think what Zach's plan to do is to really aggregate the food. So to get the food in the hands of the people that want it. And some of the challenges he's going to run into are some of the red tape that go around the food industry. And this is a
lot of red tape.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like you're blanketed in red. It's a red blanket.
It was very evident to me in the first panel of that conference that it is a battle against the federal government against small farmers because they want big farmers because they're safer, because they're GAP certified. And
it has nothing to do with safety.
Yes. It was just...
It has to do with a certain color, green, and not vegetables. I mean, you can see that the way I'll probably get in trouble for saying half the things that I'm saying, to be honest, but it's just a talking point. I mean, the food industry is based in big ag, and big ag is not the way to go. I mean, we were just talking earlier how at Inglewood Farm, we grew 100 acres of certified organic soft red winter wheat. It's the first time that it's ever been done in Louisiana. And what we did was we proved that you can grow large-scale grains in the Deep South organically. We can feed a large amount of people that way. We can even feed our food. We can feed cattle. We can feed pigs. We can do these things. We can feed chickens. We can raise eggs by feeding chickens this grain. And so it's kind of on a national stage showing that it can be done. and that we can do it organically. If we can do it in the Deep South, we can do it anywhere. So there's got to be a change of legislature, a change of leadership, and people who are fighting to get small farmers on their feet and getting their product in the hands of those who want it.
I left the conference feeling like I wanted to do something more, but I'm also at a point where it's like I don't even know who I need to contact to do to find out more about like the law side of it, I guess, and to how you would go about fighting getting these laws. And it almost feels like an unwinning battle, I guess, that it's not like, even if
it's an uphill battle for sure. But look, for individual consumers, the best way to create change is by changing. So if, let's say, we're going to our state representative and we're saying we need to lobby for this, this is where we need to go, this is what we need to do, yet we're going home and we're eating McDonald's and we're buying from these big look at your ingredient list, look at what you're buying.
Yeah.
So if we're continuing to buy from suppliers who are sending their product from way out of state or even out of country, we're paying for those carbon costs. We're not actually supporting. Our words can say one thing to our representatives, but if our actions are saying another thing, then we're not really living the message. We're not living the cause.
Right.
So the best way for an individual to create change is by going to your local farmers market, speaking to these people, speaking to your farmers, knowing your farmers, and buying into what they're doing. Sometimes we sacrifice as individuals by buying, maybe sacrificing an extra $1 or sacrificing our time or our convenience to go to the farmer's market or to buy from a local farmer instead of continuing in that same paradigm of going to Walmart.
Another thing that we've been kind of talking about is the aging out of farmers. As a young farmer, I mean, what does that feel like? It feels like it's kind of scary to me to kind of think about.
Well, there's definitely no job security,
right?
But farmers have been experiencing that for a long time anyway. Job security in the farm life has never been, that's never really existed. For me and why I got into this, it wasn't my initial goal to be a farmer. I didn't grow up thinking that I wanted to farm. I don't even come from a farming background. I studied history in college, so it was not really something that I was planning on doing. For me, it's almost, it really appeals to my sense of adventure, and it's also, it's pioneering an industry. And I feel like it's twofold for me as a young farmer, but as a farmer in Louisiana, and also an organic farmer in Louisiana, something that isn't really commonplace and hasn't been done before. So it makes for a soft pillow at night. It makes for a really stressful life at times, but it's very rewarding knowing that, I feel like I'm fighting the good fight for something that I believe in.
And you said you're a member of the Young Farmers Coalition? Is that what you were? And then you were telling me how many members did it have in Louisiana? And
I may be wrong, but I believe it's over 40 members in Louisiana. And it's not just very young farmers, it's farmers of all ages, but it is a conglomeration of young and other farmers that are trying to develop some type of communication and growth here in the state. So see,
and to me, that sounded like a big number, but in reality, that's not a big number.
No, it's really not in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's a really tiny number.
Yeah, it is.
So what would you, if somebody was wanting to get into farming, what would be your suggestion to them? Don't do it.
No, I would never say that. I would never say not to farm. I would say to be prepared, and then if you make the decision, to stick to it. I would say to reach out to the people that are doing it around you and learn from them. For instance, this coming Thursday, the folks at Prudhomme Farm are going to come up and hang out with me at Inglewood.
Oh, nice.
And they're just getting started, and I think what they're doing is amazing. And although they are quote unquote competition, competition breeds quality, and it also breeds growth. So we welcome it. And I can't wait to have them out to the farm so that I can show them how we're doing our CSAs, and we'll just rock it out together. We'll both be at the horse farm selling our CSAs to locals, and that'll be awesome.
See, I don't see it as competition, and here's why. Perfect example. We'll just say eggs. I'll go to one booth, you're out of eggs. Go to the next booth, out of eggs. Go to the next booth, they have eggs. I mean, even if you're all selling the same product, you run out. Like you don't have like an infinite number of eggs to be able to sell our produce. So it's competition, but really it's not. I think that y'all are all working together, and that's how it should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have even, and that's what I'm saying, that is that, and if you came to my booth and were like, hey, do you have any zucchini today? And be like, I sure don't. We just sold out. But if you go just 2 booths over, they do. And yeah, we're absolutely a team. We're all working together for one goal. There's plenty enough of a market for fresh produce here in this area to all get along.
So being a farmer in the year 2016, I recently taught a class to some of the farmers at the farmers market about social media and how to market yourself online. So not only do you have to be a farmer these days, you have to be a whiz at social media.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
Yeah.
And I will say that your social media interaction is great. So,
well, that is, to be real clear, that's mainly my job. So working for Inglewood Farm, we've got a lot of moving pieces. We're 1,800 acres of what will be certified organic soil. We grow row crop grains, large-scale grains, corn, soybean, millet, oats, wheat. We also do grass-fed beef. We also do pastured pork. We do pastured chickens. We do forage-fed eggs. And then we have our vegetable side of things. Plus, we have the only certified organic pecan orchard in the state of Louisiana. We cold press that pecan oil. So we have pecan oil. We have raw honey. A lot of moving parts, right? So though I do some farming and the vegetable operation, I'm also mainly the salesperson for the farm. So I have to do all of the social media, which is, I'm saying all this to get to the social media aspect of things, is that I'm selling all of these different products without really a budget to do so.
Right.
So
that's the other side of it. They can't pay somebody to do their social media for them too.
No, exactly. So everybody at our farm, we just all do a whole lot of things, including myself. And I handle our social media pages. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. We even have a market page on Facebook and on Instagram. So we do all that. We're like kings of guerrilla marketing. We still pass out flyers door to door kind of deal. Not really like door to door, but you know what I mean? Like local neighborhood stores and restaurants that are supporting us. We're like bringing information directly to them. We go on all the free radio shows like this one. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, I really love coming on the show, but we did, I worked with the radio station Q93 in Alexandria. We do Good Day Sinline in Alexandria. So it's very busy trying to use, and thank God for social media and Power Editor that we can run ads and do all kinds of targeting audiences and stuff on Facebook.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have more with Steven. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
The best tasting radio show in all of South Louisiana. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and we've been talking with Steven Reed with Inglewood Farm. And everyone is going to go out and buy a CSA because I said so and Steven said so. So do it. You want to get creative with your food, do it.
It's just a one season kind of deal too. One time deal. If it's not something that works for your lifestyle, you don't have to renew. But we are trying to provide a service. We're happy to do it. We love being in Acadiana and bringing organic, local produce to everybody here, all our customers here.
Another theme from the conference was about food waste, and one of the aspects of food waste being the idea of ugly foods and ugly produce not moving at the supermarket. Actually, they won't even put it out at the supermarket. They only want like beautiful, pristine. I have to be honest. I like to go to the farmer's market and see the different fruits and vegetables that they have there and that they aren't all beautiful and pristine. But when I'm going to buy, I buy beautiful and I want beautiful and pristine. Even
Everyone
though
does.
Aesthetically, like when I'm looking at it, I like that one. Now, I recently 2 nights ago, maybe, somebody in my Instagram news feed they're in San Francisco, and they were at the San Francisco Farmers Market, and they were seeing something, and it was called cosmetically challenged avocados, which I thought was brilliant marketing.
It's genius.
Yeah,
that's genius.
It's so you guys should totally steal it and start doing it.
I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on the whole ugly food waste?
No, I think it's great. I don't think any food should go to waste just because it doesn't look pretty. I mean, we're just conditioned to pick the prettiest produce. When in the grand scheme of things, just because it looks really nice doesn't mean it tastes good. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. It's very relevant when it comes to produce, especially if you're buying locally and you're buying organically, because the people who are growing that food are putting a lot of work into it. They're most likely, if you're getting from us, I know I can speak for ourselves, that we use very soluble materials to fertilize. So our produce that we're growing, we pride ourselves in growing very nutrient dense food, and which isn't always the prettiest. You know, right now we have bok choy, we have kale, we have dandelion greens, we have frisee and radicchio all planted. Well, guess what? It's September and it's 90 something degrees outside. We're in Louisiana and there's a lot of bugs. A great sign showing that we grow organically and that we're not using harsh pesticides is that there's holes in the plants. If I was giving you an aesthetically pleasing leaf of kale that was giant and didn't have any holes or any blemishes, it's probably likely that I sprayed it with something if I'm growing it this time of year and I'm not doing it organically.
So do you at market have a hard time moving ugly produce?
Well, no, not if I get a chance to talk to people.
Yeah.
I think we do a good job of kind of manicuring our product, and the things that we don't, the things that we aren't sending to market that aren't like in the greatest quality visually, we sell in different avenues. I know that there's a lot of great chefs around the area that don't care because they understand that doesn't actually, it doesn't relate to the flavor as long as it's not spoiled. And so, you know, we will sell it at a discounted rate to others. And part of our process as a sustainable farm is that we raise animals that also love our produce, and they don't judge our produce based on the way it looks.
Nice. So what do you do with your leftover produce? Do you give it to the animals on the farm? Do you do anything else with it?
Yeah, we do a couple things. So some of it goes to feed us individual farmers, interns at the farm. We also have an agreement with the Alexandria Zoo. We will send a lot of our product that isn't that we can't resell. We'll separate either for our pigs, our chickens, or we'll bring to the animal zoo as the animals at the zoo in Alexandria as a donation to feed the tortoises love our greens.
That's really cool. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. They were talking a lot about Second Harvest, and do y'all do any kind of donations with any food banks, or can y'all do that with the laws being the way that they are? Yeah, no, we sure do. It's for us, it's about timing and the ability to get it to them. Sometimes they only want specific things. There's, once again, a lot of red tape with that kind of thing, as well as what they can take and when. So there are times that we do that. For instance, we do Running Inglewood every November, and the proceeds typically go to buy food for some of the local charities in our area. So we'll deliver like in that aspect. But I mean, as far as food that is blemished or anything like that, you know, we look at it as an opportunity to be able to educate people about, or really try to change their paradigms, change the way of thinking about the food that they're buying. And, you know, instead of basing their judgment just on the way that it looks, really get an idea that, you know, this is from the farmer that I love. I love this individual who's growing this with all of their hard work, and it doesn't matter if there's, you know, frayed edges on my kale leaves, pretty much. You mentioned that you guys make the pecan oil. What are some things that you can do with the pecan oil? Because I have some, and I don't know really what to do with it. What do you typically use as your oil? I typically use olive oil. You can do the same thing with pecan, except it's not going to have like the pecan taste. So if you... Well, that depends on where you're getting it from. I can speak for our pecan oil is that if you eat it raw, like for dipping breads, or use it as a salad dressing, or just to, you know, sprinkle on whatever dish you have afterward, it does have a very mild pecan flavor. But once you cook it, it just becomes like any other mild oil. Like you're not tasting extra virgin olive oil once you're
searing with it or anything like that. The problem with olive oil is that you're going to burn it at about 325. Pecan oil's got a smoke point of 425. So I actually have people that come and buy our pecan oil in bulk to like fried chicken and fried fish.
Wow.
Now that's way out of my budget because
that's yeah,
it's like $12 for 8 ounces. Yeah, it's not cheap. So yeah, that'd be out of my budget for sure, but it makes some really great food.
Wow. Man, is that a restaurant that's doing that, or is that somebody?
No, it's just a local, it's just a customer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. They're dedicated.
They are.
To the
they
cause.
love it. They love the flavor of it. So yeah. You can, we sell it actually, it's actually a better bargain if you just buy it by the quart. We sell it in mason jars by the quart for $40, and you can just use it as your oil. It's a heart healthy oil. We cold press it, so we're not burning up all the beneficial minerals and things that are in the pecans themselves. And then we actually, the remnants of the pecan, once the oil is pulled from them, it just makes this little cylindrical tube, and we feed it to our pigs.
Okay, we'll briefly talk about this because we're running out of time. Walmart is kind of changing the way that they're marketing things, and they're trying to seem like they're on the farm to table, small farmers cause. They're changing, I guess, doing more gluten-free stuff, more artisanal breads. And something that I saw recently was that they were going to be putting more local produce in their fruits and vegetables section. You said this was not necessarily a good thing for the farmer.
Yeah. Well, it's not that it's not a good thing. They just have to make it work. They have to make it work where it's beneficial to the farmer. I think currently with any type of, big companies like that, their whole mindset is to be beneficial to themselves and not necessarily to the individuals they're buying from.
Right.
For us, it wouldn't be cost effective to actually have our product in a store like that because the amount that they want to give us on a wholesale level is just not it's just not doable for us. So until the margins are there, it's not going to work for smaller farmers, or at least us as Inglewood, we're not at that point. It may work for somebody else who's maybe their scale is a little bit different, and they're set up a little bit differently to where they're able to grow organically and be able to charge a cheaper price, but we're just not there. The margins aren't there for us to be able to do it. But I say, go for it, Walmart, go for it, Kroger's. If y'all can make it work for the smaller farmer and you can affect the local economy by buying stuff from the small farmers in their region, then, I'm all for it if it can really pan out, but yet to see that happen.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon for sure. So I'm interested to see how it kind of plays out.
But it's nice that is a fad, that
right?
People want to support local, and that's like a thing now. But just I ask folks not to get caught up in the nomenclature. Like, don't get caught up in the words, but get caught up in the actions and make change in everyone's individual life and go and support these local farms at your local farmers market. Figure out a way that you can be of service. Go and volunteer at one of these farms. Get to know your farmer, get to know their families, get to know what they're about, what they love, their hopes and dreams and their desires. Get to know it for sure. And you'll see the benefit. It's long reaching, it's long lasting.
Okay, one more plug. Where can people go to pre-order their CSAs?
Yeah, please do. You can actually visit us online, inglewoodfarm.com. We've got a beautiful website. You can find out all about our farm. You can find out what a CSA is, what to expect for the fall, and you can actually sign up at inglewoodfarm.com/shop online. You can just hit the tab on the webpage. You can put down a deposit and just pay the rest whenever the CSA session starts. We've got pickups throughout Louisiana, here in Acadiana and Lafayette at the Horse Farm Market every Saturday from 8 to noon. You can also contact us via Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have any questions, get on Facebook, message me, and I'll be more than willing to help you out. I'll even give you my personal number. You can call and chat with me, and I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much for coming on tonight, Stephen.
It's really always a pleasure, Tiffany.
I will try to arrange that sandwich next time you come on the show.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, that's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This has been Tiffany Deku on Newstalk 96.5 KPEL, and this is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy eating, Acadiana.
Yo.